are you considering a job change in 2024? Pursuing a new career can be challenging, but knowing where the growth will be, what employees are looking for, and how to put your best foot forward are essential to make yourself stand out. The fastest growing sectors are tech, information technology, finance, and healthcare. Despite the tech industry layoffs at the start of the year, tech and IT sectors are still hiring, especially in AI. Most companies this year want to hire people with soft and hard skills and those willing to be flexible with their working arrangement. While many companies are still embracing work from home, hybrid and in-office culture is back in fashion. Finding ways to showcase your value or build a brand is also a major way that companies are noticing people these days. While searching for a new career at any point can be stressful, let's take a deep dive on the best way to get a new job in this new year. Joining us is Peter Cappelli, a professor of management at the Wharton School and the director of Wharton's Center for Human Resources at the University of Pennsylvania. Professor, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
I want to first start about these layoffs in the first month of this year alone. Does that surprise you? And also, the second part of my question is, how would you describe this overall labor market ahead of the first government jobs report for the year in terms of employment?
Well, the job market's been remarkably good. We've had, I think, pretty well acknowledged now a pretty soft landing. Getting over COVID, job market still seems to be pretty good. The layoffs got a lot of attention simply because they were layoffs. In the tech sector, we sort of thought they were immune from the ups and downs of the economy because they'd always gone up, 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 up. Companies like Google and Meta, Facebook, those companies have been remarkable growth engines. They've been competing for talent with each other all the time, with Microsoft and the whole Apple, that whole big group, big block of tech companies driving the stock market up. So the surprising thing was that there were any layoffs at all. And the reason for the layoffs is not particularly because there was anything wrong with the companies. It was really being driven by the investors who thought the companies must be kind of overburdened with employees, too many employees, because they thought they hired a lot. So it was driven by the investor community. It wasn't driven by the businesses themselves.
Thanks for clarifying that. Well, we also mentioned finance, healthcare, tech, information technology, still the fastest growing sectors. Are there any other industries, would you say, that we should look out for this year in terms of growing jobs, growing opportunities? And what does this say about the overall trends in the U.S. economy?
Well, to answer the last part first, I think the trend is pretty good. The job market is strong. There are still, I think in the tech industry, I saw a statistic recently, 3 million openings in IT, broadly defined. So there's still a lot of opportunity. I don't think things have really cooled off very much. I think there were a lot of companies that were holding their breath in the last few months, particularly in hiring college students. So for our students graduating, it was a little nerve-wracking. They were waiting to see which way the economy was going to go, and they were holding off cementing some of these offers and things. But I think that's passed now, and my sense is in the next couple of months or so, hiring will pick up even on college campuses.
Even though there is good news there, it's always competitive to find a new job, as you know. So what advice would you have for job seekers in terms of when to apply during the year and how to make themselves marketable with employers?
The one thing that employers uniformly want, unfortunately, is job experience. They want to know whether you have already done something like what they're looking for. And that's a real problem if you want to change careers, you want to change fields altogether. So, what you have to do is try to figure out how you can show them, maybe in a different kind of a company even, that you have done some of the tasks that they require, even if it was in a different context. That's about the best thing you can do. If you want to do a real career change, the best way to do it is inside your current company. You're in finance, you want to get into marketing. If you can volunteer to work on a marketing project and say that you've done some of that work, and you can say that to employers elsewhere, that's really what they're looking for.
And during those job interviews, of course, it's, employees want certain demands. And with the pandemic, we've seen a lot more people working from home, having more flexible hours. Do you think that will continue to be important across generations? And will job seekers have leverage to make those kinds of demands?
Well, the leverage is the big thing, right? Because employers pretty clearly are not loving the idea of continued remote work. They've been trying to get more of their employees back in. They haven't pushed harder because they were afraid that their employees could quit and go work someplace else or would quit. But, one of the things we've seen in this current round of layoffs, even though the layoffs weren't very big, is that they fell disproportionately on people who were working remotely. That was true even when remote work was less common a generation or so ago. So that's just a reminder that, if you had your choice and you were worried about your career, demanding remote work is probably not the smartest thing to do.
We have less than a minute left, Professor. Just in a nutshell, what kind of trends are you looking to see into the future this year in particular?
Well, this is never very popular to say, but I think the future is going to look a lot like the way it does right now. We've had a pretty good labor market. I can't see what's going to make it worse. Things cooled down a little bit, so they'll probably start to heat up a little bit by the end of this next year, I would think. But, things are going to look sort of like they do now. Job market is pretty good. It's still not easy to find the kind of jobs you want, but it's better than it has been in a generation. And my guess is that'll just continue.
We like to end on a high note. Professor Peter Cappelli with the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania, thank you so much.
Thank you.